Oh, sweet bubbly baby brownies. It's Science Sunday, so we're going to talk about a couple things. Because there's some things that have been weighing a little heavy on my mind, especially what's going on in North Dakota this year. So we're going to talk about a couple of things. We're talking about alcohol, and we're talking about cannabis, or marijuana, or pot, or Mary Jane, or the devil's lettuce. That evil, dirty, shitty nonsense that you're not supposed to have. I'm going to bust some myths today because I have been doing a lot of reading. If you don't know how much reading, I read about 2 books a week because I sit on a lot of airplanes. So I have a lot of time to throw information in my head, and there's some things I want you guys to understand. So we're going to talk about alcohol, and we're going to talk about cannabis, and we're going to talk about these things without political crap in the middle. We're just going to talk about the things. So let's talk about alcohol for a second. I want to talk about, oh, here it is, whiskey. You guys, this is whiskey. This is straight rye whiskey. Delicious, amazing. It smells wonderful. I drink my bourbon and my whiskey neat. So here it is in a glass. It's in polished sand. This, if we look at the medicinal properties of alcohol, I have to get a lot more strong than this. I can't just use this, but it works a little bit like this. So this is, when we look at medicinal qualities of alcohol, it's a disinfectant and an antiseptic. Done. I'm done. I'm done talking about the medicinal benefits of alcohol. It has no known health benefits at all. While this will help a little bit in my cardiovascular system, while I'm doing that, it's damaging some of my neurons along the way, maybe causing some permanent damage. It's also fairly tough on my liver. So you guys, this is perfectly legal in all 50 states and just about every country I go to. Oh God, I can do that and not get arrested. Amazing, right? It has medicinal purposes only as a disinfectant and an antiseptic. No health benefits whatsoever, and it's perfectly legal. You can have this wherever you go. This is more toxic, more addictive, more carcinogenic, and responsible for higher rates of violence, domestic abuse, crime, and traffic fatalities than cannabis will ever be responsible for, even when it's fully legal all over, which we're less than 10 years away. So let's just jump on right now and be on the right side of history here, okay? This is delicious and amazing, and I'll give you this, but I want you to realize this is a toxic poison to humans. If you drink too much of this, you'll die. There's a lethal dose. There's what they call an LD50 of alcohol. That's how much does it take to kill 50% of the population of something. Well, it's not even very high. If I were to sit in front of you and drink the rest of this, I would die. That's how easy it is to kill yourself with alcohol. And I want you to understand something about alcohol because I'm going to compare it to my friend cannabis only because this one is legal and cannabis, most places we go, is not. And I'm going to tell you some of the benefits of that one as well as some of the cautions. So here's the caution with alcohol. The World Health Organization just earlier this year released their data on deaths worldwide. This stuff was directly responsible for 1 out of every 20 deaths worldwide in 2016. Go into a room of 100 people. 5 of those people will die as a direct result of alcohol worldwide. That makes me really, really sad. This is a contributing factor to over 200 diseases. It's actually a causal factor in over 200 diseases. That's insane. I think back to my dad's death. He died when he was 56 years old. He suffocated to death in the hospital. My dad was a heavy, heavy drinker most of his life, and this is mostly responsible for his death, along with cigarettes. Cigarettes kill 1,200 people a day in the U.S. alone. Do you want to sit with that number? 1,200 people every day die of a legal product that you can buy at any gas station as long as you're over the age of 18. It kills 1,200 a day and it's still legal. Yeah, we need to sit with that for a little bit and contemplate some things. Politics aside, are you kidding me? I'm going to show you a plant. You guys, I live in Colorado. I can do this and not get arrested. Check this out. This, oh my God, look at that. That's Blue Dream, folks. Blue Dream, that's the flower of a plant, unadulterated flower of a plant right there. Look at that. Isn't that gorgeous? Some of you guys are like drooling, like, oh, please, I want some, because you live in a state where this is illegal. This is the flower of a plant. There's nothing that's been done to this other than it's grown, they've trimmed it off, and there you have the flower of a plant. Now, cannabis or its extract. This is from cannabis. This one happens to be cannabis sativa. There is indica as well, which chills you out. I want to show you a couple of things about this, because with alcohol, to get this, this had to be a process. This was a distillation process to get alcohol. There's always some sort of a process to get it, usually from hops or rye or wheat. Nothing's been done to this. Now, this can be medicine. I want you guys to understand this. This can absolutely, by itself, without doing anything to it, be medicine, because some of the phytocannabinoids in here don't necessarily need heat to be activated to do some of the things that this can do in your body. You can just go up to the flower and go, oh my God, that smells good. Look at that. I'm actually eating it. You can just eat this, just like it is. It tastes delicious. And nothing's going to happen. It's really hard to get high from this unless I heat it up. So I can do that. That's totally fine. Cannabis and its extracts are used to treat and prevent everything from Alzheimer's to epilepsy to cancers to anxiety. Let me finish chewing this. You guys, I'm on video eating weed and washing it down with whiskey. So you just have to be careful how much of this stuff you do. But I want you to understand something. I have a link for cannabis studies with cannabis and its extracts that links to 1,200 clinical trials done around the world from various organizations that show how beneficial this can be in so many disease states, it's hard to comprehend. This is neuroprotective, immunoprotective, it's an antioxidant, it's antimicrobial, it's antibacterial, it's anti-inflammatory. Should we keep going? This one thing is all of that. In this, if I go to a lot of states in the United States, I could get arrested for just this. They will threaten violence upon me for having the flower of a plant. Does that make any sense to you at all? Let's go over this for a second. Now, some people are going to say that a lot of people die every year from marijuana. They're going to say marijuana traffic deaths are up. People are dying of marijuana on a daily basis. You guys, there's no LD50 on this plant. It is impossible to kill yourself with this plant. Now, do I want you driving when you've been really high all day because of this? That's a huge no. If you get in a car and you're really high, you're compromised. That's a problem for me. However, I want you to understand something about the reported numbers. I'm going to get a little bit into what you'd call politics, but I want you to get this for a second. If I go around with a little bit of weed in my body and a whole shitload of this, and I get pulled over for a traffic accident, they have to blame one or the other. They can't blame both. So typically, they will say that was a marijuana-related incident. If I get pulled over for speeding, and I have a little bit of this hanging out in my car, or they find something on my person, or they search my car and they find something because they assume I might be compromised due to marijuana, they will put that traffic stop down as a marijuana-related traffic stop, even though I might not be compromised. Now, it's important to note this. When I drink this, this is like less than an ounce, you guys. This is not very much. I will drink this, and within an hour, with most people, it's completely out of my system. It is almost untraceable in my blood or urine after about an hour for most people. That little tiny bit of weed that I just ate, or if I smoke this, or if I were to do an edible, which I'll show you in just a second, because you can turn this into some really delicious stuff. If I were to keep this in my body and I were to smoke it, some of the metabolites from this that they test for in my blood or my urine can stick around even just from one use for 7 days in my blood and up to 30, depending on how I metabolize this plant, up to 30 days of my urine. So if I get pulled over tomorrow because I hit somebody's car because I wasn't paying attention, and they did a urine test and they found any one of the metabolites from this plant, they will blame that traffic accident as a marijuana-related traffic accident. I want you to understand that, because it's not just I was high on weed and then I hit something. It was some other thing, and they're still reporting it that way. So there's a little bit of this when we look at the politics. We just have to be smart about this and look at how they're reporting. If I've got cigarettes and alcohol and methamphetamines in my body and a little bit of marijuana, they have to blame it on one drug, typically, not all, or they'd be double reporting, and they're going to choose marijuana first. And there's a lot of reasons why. You guys, this is neuroprotective, immunoprotective, antioxidant, antimicrobial, antibacterial, anti-inflammatory. There's a lot of people that don't want this out there because it works better on anxiety than Ritalin does. Like, why would the people who make Ritalin want you to have this for free, to grow it in your own backyard or your house as you see fit? I haven't done anything to this, you guys. This is just a flower. I can just go gobble this up and I can get some of those benefits. Now, we look at smoking this. If you smoke marijuana versus smoking cigarettes, this is weird because if you smoke cigarettes, your lung cancer risk is up to 900% higher than if you don't smoke. So please don't smoke cigarettes. That's just stupid. You're asking for cancer. If you smoke marijuana, your lung cancer risks are not exacerbated at all. I've read 3 scientific studies this week about this, and no exacerbation in lung cancer risk if you're smoking marijuana. I still don't recommend you smoke it. I would prefer you eat it because of the way it metabolizes and you're not inhaling a hot vapor. Here's one of the ways you can eat it. Check this out. This is a cute little container of edible mint-like things. This looks like a sweet tart, right? So I could just gobble this up. I'm not going to because I don't need that in my body right now. But this is just a 2 milligram edible. I can put this 2 milligrams in and just kind of chill out, relax, help me focus. This is a sativa strain that'll help energize me a little bit. Here I have one. You can see this. This is 10 milligrams. This looks like a gummy. So it's hard for me to tell, except there's a little thing on there, and you won't be able to see it on the camera, that says THC with an exclamation point. It's usually in some sort of a triangle, like, warning, there's weed in here. You probably shouldn't be leaving this on the counter, right? Just as a reminder, so you don't pick up candy and go, yummy candy. It says THC. So I want you guys to understand something. These things are illegal, and they have medicinal benefits to the point where on prescription, by prescription, you can get CBD and some of the other cannabinoids from physicians in 13 countries around the world. So this plant has about 113 phytocannabinoids in it. Now, this is where we're going to start calling things drugs because this plant is not a drug. The THC that you find in this plant could be considered a drug, just like coffee is not a drug, but caffeine that is found in coffee is. This is not drugs. This is the flower of a plant. It's not a drug. The things that we can get from this could be considered drugs. THC, CBD, and 113 other phytocannabinoids. Now, that's what's reported on Wikipedia. I've heard numbers as high as 190. So you pick how many of the compounds you think in here are going to be beneficial, but only one of them, just one, will get you really high. So if you want to know what your dog is saying, you can take a whole bunch of the THC stuff from here and you will figure out what your dog might be saying, or at least it'll feel like that. If you don't want to get high, the other cannabinoids and terpenes like CBD and CBN and CBG and some of the other terpenes in this plant are actually very, very good for your body. They can help you sleep. They can boost your immune system. Very, very potent immune boosting properties in this plant. They can help modulate some of the anxiety that you're dealing with. If you were to just puff on, say, a 5 milligram CBD pen, anxiety goes away fairly quickly with just 5 to 10 milligrams of CBD. And if you're inhaling it in, say, like an MCT oil, carrier oil, you can get that into your lungs pretty quickly. So I'm going to tell you right now, I want to quote some people here, and I wrote these down. That's why I keep looking down. I have some notes. This is a quote from a judge, and this was Judge Francis Young. Judge Francis Young was the judge for the DEA, the Drug Enforcement Agency right here in the U.S. He said, and I quote, "Marijuana is one of the safest therapeutically active substances known to man." That's a judge for the DEA saying that. So don't you think we should be looking at this as a therapeutic agent and not make it so illegal that they threaten violence upon you just for having it? I'm going to quote one more person here, and then I'll finish up. I want to quote Jimmy Carter. Jimmy Carter, former president of the United States, says, "Penalties against possession of a drug should not be more damaging to an individual than the use of the drug itself. And where they are, They should be changed. I want to remind you, you cannot kill yourself with this no matter what. But if you're caught with enough of it, they will let you rot away in a cage, and if you try to get out, they will hurt you. So don't you think that doesn't make sense, that the penalties for having this are far more harmful than this itself? Where something that I can die from right now that's legal, there's no real legal issue here unless I get behind the wheel of a vehicle while I'm intoxicated. I want to tell you how we know that this is a huge problem. The federal government holds a patent on this. It's patent number 6630507. Go look that up. That's the federal government that holds a patent on the medicinal use of cannabinoids as antioxidants and neuroprotectants. Can't talk. Maybe it's the fact that I ate some flour. So here's the deal, you guys. If the government holds a patent on this as an antioxidant and a neuroprotectant, don't you think they know something? They hold a patent on it. Why is it illegal if the government holds a patent that this is medicine? So here's the deal, you guys. I was talking to an ER doc the other day. He rolls jujitsu with us down here in Colorado Springs, and he said he sees one patient a week, every week, as an emergency room physician that has uncontrollable vomiting due to overuse of marijuana. I'm sure he sees plenty of people that come into his hospital that are dying of this as well. And if the World Health Organization says this kills 1 in 20, and I've got ER docs, just one area in Colorado Springs that are seeing one person a week because of uncontrollable vomiting due to marijuana, I want to caution you something right now. If you're using this every single day in huge amounts to escape your own reality, can we just agree to stop and create a better reality that we don't have to run away from? So I'm going to tell you right now, this can be highly addictive, just like anything can be highly addictive. I can be highly addicted to exercise, and I used to be. You can be highly addicted to alcohol. That is a problem. I can become highly addicted to caffeine. I want you to realize something about addiction. Addiction causes massive problems. Don't become addicted to this. Use this as medicine. Use it as therapy. Use it to boost your immune system, but don't use it every day in huge amounts. You're just hurting yourself and you're setting yourself up for absolute disaster. So I would recommend use both this and this with extreme caution. So I want to leave you with something if you're in North Dakota and you're watching this. I don't give a shit how poorly Measure 3 is worded. I don't care which side of the fence you vote on. I really don't. I'm telling you right now, if this is legal and kills people, and this plant is illegal and doesn't, unless you drive with it, don't be dumb. Why isn't this legal? I'm going to urge you, if you're in North Dakota, you vote yes on Measure 3. And if you want science, unbiased science, you comment on this video, I'll send you an email with 1,200 clinical trials on how beautiful this can be in the human body when it's used responsibly. So please, 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 there's going to be some scare tactics out there, you guys. There's a lot of people that don't want this legal. Here's the deal. If you leave these out for your kids and they have THC in them and you've got toddlers, you're an asshole. That's not going to happen very often, just like you're not going to leave this laying around for your toddler to drink. If you're leaving gummies around on the table that have THC in them and you have kids, you should have your kids taken away because you're an asshole. So stop doing that. Vote yes to make this stuff legal. You guys, the sooner this is legal everywhere, the sooner we can all move on with how healing this plant is. We can be doing a lot of good in the world with this. Again, this is a plant. I don't have to do anything for this to be beneficial. Now, I'm not going to eat too much of this unless I blend it up because some of these little hairs on there that you can't see are going to irritate my stomach and my gut. I don't want to do that. I'm going to blend this up if I want to eat it, or I'm going to heat it up and I'm going to put it in something I can eat, or I'm going to heat it up in a vape pen and I'm going to vape it very gently, or I'm going to heat it up just like this, smoke it, which is totally fine. So I'm going to leave you with one quote. This is a quote from Alice in Wonderland, which is one of my favorite stories ever. Remember what the dormouse said. Feed your head. This stuff. I think that's what they were talking about. I love you guys. If you need me, put a little comment on there, and I will help you in any way that I can. If you need more science, you let me know. I love you.